Greetings, Health TV. This video was created from an article on our health website. I'll drop the link to the article in the description box. After watching, please ensure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And please come back for more.
Today we're going to
See
talk
you
about
soon.
something called angina. You know, it's that feeling that millions of people experience, and it's basically a warning signal coming directly from your heart. So let's figure out what that signal is actually trying to tell us.
Okay, so picture this. You're just going about your day, maybe climbing some stairs at work, when all of a sudden you feel this tightness across your chest. It's weird enough that it makes you stop in your tracks. But then you catch your breath for a few minutes, and it just kind of fades away. It's so easy to just brush that off, right?
And that's when your mind starts racing. Was that just some bad heartburn from lunch? Am I just stressed out? Or could it be something more serious? That is the exact question we are here to unpack today. All right, so let's get right into it and find out what is really going on when you feel that kind of discomfort. Here's the number one thing to get straight. Angina itself isn't a disease, it's a symptom. You can think of it like your heart's own check engine light. It's a warning signal telling you that the heart muscle isn't getting all the oxygen-rich blood it needs to do its job. And look, this is not some rare thing we're talking about. It affects more than 100 million people all over the world, which makes it incredibly important for all of us to understand what's going on. So why does this even happen? Well, think of your heart like this incredibly hard-working pump. When you exercise or you're under a lot of stress, that pump has to work harder, so it demands more oxygen. But if the arteries that are supposed to deliver that oxygen are narrowed or blocked up with plaque, they just can't keep up with the demand. That little gap, that oxygen shortage, is exactly what triggers the pain of angina.
Now, this is super important to know. Not all angina is created equal. Understanding the different types is absolutely key because one is a manageable signal, while another is a full-blown emergency. Let's start with the two main players, and the difference here is critical. First up is stable angina. This is the most common kind, and the key word is predictable. It shows up when you're exerting yourself, and then it goes away when you rest. Simple. On the other hand, you have unstable angina. And I want to be perfectly clear, this is a medical emergency. It's totally unpredictable, it can happen even when you're just sitting on the couch, and it's a massive warning sign that a heart attack could be right around the corner. Now, besides those two big ones, there are a few other types you should know about. There's variant angina, which is caused by a sudden random spasm in an artery. Then there's microvascular angina, which is a problem with the heart's tiniest little blood vessels, and this one is actually more common in women. And finally, refractory angina, which is this persistent long-term pain that just doesn't seem to respond to the usual treatments.
Okay, I really want you to pay close attention to this next part because angina doesn't always show up as that classic movie-style chest pain, especially not for everyone.
For women in particular, the symptoms can be totally different. Instead of that crushing chest pain, the main signal might just be feeling really short of breath, or this deep, unusual fatigue that rest just doesn't fix. You might also notice pain, but in your neck, your jaw, or your back. Sometimes it even feels like heartburn or nausea. It's so vital to be aware of these other signs. And it's a similar story for people with diabetes. Because of nerve damage that can happen with the condition, the sensation of chest pain can actually be dialed way down or even be completely absent. So for them, the key warning signs might just be shortness of breath, tiredness, or this vague, hard-to-describe discomfort.
Okay, so we know what angina is and what it might feel like. The big question is, what on earth should you do when it actually happens?
All right, if you start feeling symptoms that seem like that predictable stable angina, your immediate game plan is simple. First, stop whatever you're doing. Sit down and rest. Second, if your doctor has given you nitroglycerin, take it. And third, just wait and see if the symptoms get better. But, and this is a huge but, there are times when waiting is absolutely not an option. Let's look at the signs that mean you need to get emergency help right away. If you have chest pain when you're just resting and it won't go away, or if the pain is totally new or suddenly way worse than usual, that's an emergency. And if that pain comes along with any of these other symptoms, like you can't breathe, you're sweating or nauseous, you feel dizzy, or the pain is moving into your jaw or arms, do not hesitate. Call for help immediately. That could be unstable angina or a heart attack. Now, not every situation needs an emergency call, but that definitely doesn't mean you should just ignore it. If you have any new chest discomfort that fits that stable angina pattern, it happens with activity, goes away with rest, it's time to make a doctor's appointment. Same goes if your usual pattern starts changing. So how can you get ahead of this? This final part is all about taking back control and being proactive about protecting your heart.
This is really where you have the most power. There are 5 huge risk factors that you can actively manage. Things like quitting smoking, getting your blood pressure and cholesterol in check, managing diabetes, and maintaining a healthy weight.
Really, the path forward is all about building these simple, healthy habits that add up to make a massive difference. We're talking about eating a heart-healthy diet, staying active, finding ways to control stress, getting good sleep, and of course, taking any medications your doctor prescribes. These are the cornerstones.
And here's the most important thing I want you to walk away with. An angina diagnosis is not a life sentence. Not at all. With the right care and the right lifestyle changes, it is absolutely possible to manage this and live a full, active, and healthy life.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Angina isn't just some random pain. You can think of it as a conversation. It's your body trying to communicate with you. So the real question is, are you listening to what
Please
your heart is...
subscribe.